Why don't you take a seat and tell me exactly what's going on? I have to put it that way, otherwise I can't do it. Okay, let's talk about some more questions that I have received. And I received a number of very good questions, once again, for which I greatly thank you. Greg asked how to remove a Visconti Opera inner cap. Yeah, Greg, good question. I understood from someone who sent me an email once that you can insert something like a pencil, you know, with a rubber eraser at the end, and you can turn it, I want to say counterclockwise, but I could be wrong, and then you can adjust that cap. Because you may have noticed, if you've ever seen say a Visconti Opera or an Opera Elements or an Opera Master or whatever, it's basically a square-ish, right, rounded off corners, but squarish pen, squarish cap, and very often in my experience the facets of the cap and the barrel don't align. Now, what that person sent me an email about was, but you can make it align by adjusting that inner cap. Having said that, I have never done this. So much as I would like to tell you this is exactly how you do it, I haven't actually done it. So if there's anyone watching this who has ever done that, then by all means, please leave a comment to explain to us all how you have done it, because it must be possible, just not something that I have ever really done. The next question, I'm just writing down a timestamp. The next question came from Ralph, who wrote me an email which I will summarize a little bit if you don't mind, which basically said, I have a Mont Blanc Heritage. It runs dry after 2 to 3 lines. It was sent to Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc replaced the ink channel, so I'm thinking the feed, and unfortunately no real change. What's going on? Well, my impression would be, or suggestion would be, that I think typically if a pen writes and it's not a matter of skipping, so you write a letter on specific strokes, an upstroke or a cross stroke, whatever, there is skipping, but then the pen more or less immediately picks up, and it just keeps skipping in specific motions, or it just misses certain beats, so to speak, as you write. Typically that is a nib issue, right? Something called baby's bottoms, which just have an over-polished nib tipping, and as a result kind of the inside tipping that gets a little over-polished, and as a result you get a very smooth writing experience, but because there's no optimal contact with the paper, the pen starts to skip. But it doesn't sound like this is the issue here, because this issue sounded as if the pen writes for 2 to 3 lines and then it stops writing. The problem in this case may be that it's a Mont Blanc. But beyond that, I think there are other reasons that may explain the problem better. This was the Heritage, which I believe is one of the retractable nib pens they did, right? Well, that opens up a whole other can of worms, because often if a pen stops writing like that, so it just runs completely dry, and then you may prime it with ink and then it writes and it runs completely dry, there's an issue with air flow and air exchange. When you think about it, picture maybe the simplest scenario. You have just a section of a pen with a nib and a feed, and then you have some sort of ink reservoir. Let's just think of a converter because it's so simple to picture. Just that. Forget about the barrel of the pen, just those parts. Ink is flowing out of the reservoir into the feed, runs through a channel in the feed. The nib is on top of that, and because the nib has a slit, through capillary action, you put the nib on the paper, through capillary action, ink is sucked out of the feed, through the nib, through the slit in the tines of the nib, and then hits the paper and you write. But as that ink leaves the reservoir, air has to flow into that reservoir, because if that doesn't happen, then the mechanism draws a vacuum, And no more ink is going to come out because the ink is going to be stuck by the vacuum. It can't get out, right? It was a very vivid description, but that was more or less, I think, what happens. Now, in such a case, unfortunately, that is not necessarily very easy to resolve yourself. I have seen this problem mainly in cartridge converter filled pens. And sometimes I could resolve the problem by using a different converter. On my Aldwin Classic I had this. Comes with a Waterman converter. And I think there was not a good connection between the converter and the nipple on the end of the feed. And as a result, I can do this. I can write about a paragraph and then it slowly runs dry and then it just stops writing altogether. I would have to prime it and I would write again. Then I put in a cartridge, which are just one of the big Waterman cartridges, which actually holds more ink than a converter anyway. It's just a little bit more fiddly. I fill it up with ink and the pen writes and doesn't stop writing until the cartridge is dry. So there it must have been a matter with the specific converter that was faulty. May have had an air leak, may not have had a good fit with the section, and as a result there's not a consistent ink flow from the reservoir into the feed. Sometimes it's not that, because I don't know from the top of my head if the heritage is that a cartridge converter. I bet that's a piston filled pen. I think I reviewed it, but I just don't remember. Okay, I see a lot of pens. I'm sorry, I don't remember everything, but I'm okay. And sometimes it's not a matter of the ink reservoir, but it's a matter of the feed. The feed has a channel through which ink flows from the reservoir into the feed, into the direction of the paper. But it also has a channel that takes air into the ink reservoir, again, so that it doesn't draw a vacuum. Now, when there is something wrong with that, that's not so easy to fix. You can hack a feed, and you can undoubtedly find instructions online on how to do it. But you kind of need to know what you are doing with that. Smoothing out a nib, if you use a very, very fine grit micro mesh, is often okay. If you take it easy, you don't overdo it, there isn't a whole lot you can do wrong. But once you start to cut into a feed, you can also destroy that feed. And absolutely, are you voiding your warranty? So in such a case, I would always recommend people to just take the pen, send it to a nibmeister. You're going to pay for their services, but they know exactly what they're doing. I've done a video on nibmeisters. You can watch that and get some suggestions on some of my favorite nibmeisters. Okay, so we have that. Then we have a question from Abel. I'm going to say Abel, but it could be Abel. He asks another very interesting question. So with celluloid, no longer being produced legally, will we see cheaper illegal celluloids? I have again compressed the question a little bit. Yes. So if you nitrate cellulose, so introduce a nitro group into an organic compound like cellulose, then you are doing something that's very interesting and that can go boom quite easily. And in fact that happens, and as I understand it, there have been massive fires, sometimes explosions, in celluloid factories. Now, we as fountain pen lovers love celluloid. I'm not 100% sure why, but we do, and we're willing to pay thousands of dollars for it. So the question, I think, is a good one. Is it possible that there will be countries that manufacture a material more cheaply or illegally, probably both, and who start to offer celluloid to make pens with? Now, I know where this comes from, and I know the stories of celluloids no longer being produced. I'm going to admit I didn't really have time to look into this in great detail, but as far as I know, celluloid is still being produced and is used in, for example, musical instruments. So I wonder if the story of the celluloid is no longer produced is 100% true. Anyone who's willing to research that or happens to know from the top of their head, by all means point it out. I've always gone with that notion too of it's no longer produced, but I don't remember ever seeing that verified anywhere. So that was planted in my brain at some point, probably in the darkness. But in any case, that's interesting. Now, imagine that the premise is true, because if we don't buy the premise, then we can't buy the joke. Let's imagine that it's true. No more celluloid is being produced. I'm pretty sure there is still at least one, but I thought 2 factories in China that produce celluloid, and I now also don't remember how I know that, but I thought they were still there. But let's imagine the celluloid production has really ceased all over the world because of safety regulations, for example. Is it possible that other companies will then step up and maybe in other countries start to produce celluloid in a cheaper or quote-unquote illegal fashion, like, oh, don't ask us where we got it, but here's some celluloid rods? Of course. Of course, that's absolutely possible. But I think this is one of the cases where we must not confuse possibility and probability. I think that it is absolutely a possibility that such a scenario would unfold. But I don't think fountain pens are a market that's going to use up tons of celluloid each year. It could happen, but I don't think it will happen. I think there are many other applications for celluloid. I don't know, old-fashioned, what they used for film, like celluloid, like that kind of stuff. Or indeed musical instruments, for which I think there is a much bigger market than a very niche product like fountain pens. So it is possible. I find it a very interesting thought experiment. It was a lot of fun to think about, but that's where my thoughts landed. I don't know if there's enough of a market for fountain pens. I know that we buy pens, but look at my channel. It's been around for 10 years, and I have 50,000 subscribers. And then look at a makeup channel that's been around for a year, and that has 1 million subscribers. So I'm willing to bet that there are other markets that are a lot more profitable than fountain pens, is what I'm trying to say. But I'll gladly do a demo on how to make smoky eyes. Okay, having said that, I had one more question, just looking at the time. And that was from Mr. 2 Bad Boy Brown, who asks, any thoughts, again I'm abbreviating this a little bit, but by explaining every question that I have abbreviated it, I've lost the time I saved by abbreviating the question. I might have just read the entire question. It would have probably been done sooner, but hindsight is 20/20 vision, as the kids say. The question basically is, do you have any thoughts on cleaning Aurora piston fillers? Yes. Many Aurora piston fillers, in my mind at least, don't easily disassemble, but Aurora does have screw-in nib units. As far as I know, at least on most of the pens I have used, those nib units are definitely screwed in as entire units. In that case, it becomes relatively easy. You take a very firm grip of the nib and feed, you unscrew the pen. Notice what I said there, you unscrew the pen so that you don't misalign the nib and feed. Take a syringe, you squirt in water, and then the pen is pretty clean. I think that's a pretty good way to do it. You can also do things another way. That's the classic way, if you don't want to mess with nibs and that kind of stuff. And this applies to every pen that you simply can't disassemble. I think of Mont Blancs. They can be disassembled, but you need to buy tools and you void the warranty, so that's not for everyone. In such a case, you draw up water and expel it, and draw up water, and expel it, and draw up water. and expel it until the water, the ejecta as it were, are clear. This can be a massive pain. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So sometimes that's how it is. This is one of the reasons I have really grown to love cartridge converter filled pens. Typically the ink capacity is really not that much smaller as that is of many piston filled pens, and they clean in 5 minutes versus what in the past sometimes for me has been 20-30 minutes for a piston filled pen. Now, strictly speaking, hashtag osmosis, you draw up water, you clean the pen as well as you can, but you draw up water, you fill it with water, you put in a little cup of water so that just the nib and feed are submerged, right? Just a little bit of the section, not too much of the pen, depending on the material, but that's always a good idea. And you leave it in that cup of water overnight, and through osmosis any ink particles will want to diffuse and they will fly out, and then next morning or the morning after, it may take a little bit of time, you should have a pretty clean pen. So it's an option. And if you don't like any of this, use a pencil. Alright, I hope this was useful, and I will very gladly see you next time. If you have any other questions about pens, please leave them in the comments below. Bye!